So what is it about romancing the muse that speaks to you? And what is it?
I would say it's beckoning the creative spirit, and we're all portals to the infinite. It could be muses, it could be our own specific creative spirit. Some, Robert Louis Stevenson had, I think he actually swore by it. He had pixies who would come and help him
Oh.
with stories and things. So, you know, take it, if you're listening, as literally, as figuratively, as mythologically as you want, or not, because it's really all you. In this
Ooh,
moment in life,
okay.
I had a last straw event. Doesn't matter what it is, but I got to this place where I was like, you know what? I'm done, Uncle. I can't
Mm,
do it. I can't bring art to the
mm,
marketplace anymore. I'm exhausted. So what that did, making that declaration of done, this is also very antithetical to being, a ruggedly individualizing, individual accomplishing American. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. I am a big fan now and again of giving up entirely, because nature does abhor a vacuum. And so I got to see, by saying, you know what, I'm done. And I started uh to just do for the sake of doing. So romancing, you're loving for the sake of doing it, for the sake of creating it, and keeping the door bolted for the time being
mhm.
against the tsunami of social media, and have you sold it, and are you selling it, and the intimidation of the zeitgeist that we now
Yeah.
live in,
Yes.
all of that stuff, so beckoning
Right.
our creative spirit, and depending what your predilections are, it's a bit mystical maybe, or it's just, private, or you begin to seek inspiration.
Oh.
Listen to your
Oh.
own longing. We all have longings. Doesn't have to be one idea that you necessarily follow up. Again, everybody's got their own relationship to their creative spirit, to feeling creative, to not feeling creative. Everything is so highly individualized. The one thing I would say is that if Matthew Fox were here, if Michael Mead were here, they
Yeah,
would say
yeah.
every single person is an artist. Every
Yes.
single person has genius.
Yeah.
And how we mine whatever gold is ours is a an infinitely individual process. And the beauty of seeing genius bristling all over the world in all sorts of different areas is
Oh.
is inspiring, and it can be intimidating, because we're looking on social media, or we're looking wherever, oh, look at that person, is, it's what you call compare
Mm.
despair. And I think that
Yeah.
if you're tuning in, and whether you're already a creative, or you're somebody who wants to have that conversation with your soul, you know with your deepest being, um that it's kind of like calling forth a little sapling, a tender little bud. And you're not going
Oh,
to put
yeah,
that
yeah.
tender little bud,
Oh.
on the windy side of the mountain in the rocks, and expect it to live.
Ooh.
you know I
Oh.
think there's a
Oh.
gentleness to romancing.
So in that space, when I think about when I've been romanced as a woman, I've been paid attention to,
Mm,
listened to.
mhm, mhm. My experience has been that different ideas have
Yes.
different personalities, different timelines, and different minds. And but
Yes.
once I've gotten, the idea, do I want to show up for it? I'm going to answer the call,
Whoa.
and I'm going to keep answering the call. And what does that
Whoa.
mean? Does it mean that you
Yeah.
show up every day and you try to write it or sculpt it or whatever? Not necessarily. Sometimes it just means paying attention, listening, knowing you have an idea for something in your head. What is that? It's something
Mm.
about, if you don't express what is within you, it will kill you. And if you do express what is within you, it will save you. It's true of all of us. And it, mining our own gold is not something that we are, generally speaking, most of us primed to do. It really takes doing. Um,
Yeah.
it takes doing to do that.
But I think it doesn't have to be all that fancy, and it doesn't have to be for the market. It can be expressing in
Oh,
our own little journal, in our own, in some place where
absolutely.
nobody even sees it.
If the muse in the form of an idea, whatever, is kind of coming knocking at the chamber door, and you answer the door. As I've said to you before, I don't do things, I grow things. Now that doesn't mean that to do
I
things
love
is wrong. It's just that these things, if they have a mind of their own and a personality of their own and a way they're going to grow, I'm the gardener essentially. And so
Oh, that's
so
gorgeous.
if we're talking about the romance and we're talking about the gentle love of the creature that we're bringing forth, you know I suppose, as people who have gardens, they're just enchanted with the, oh, look, there it is, and there's a love for this beautiful thing that you're growing, so you want to make it, go ahead, what's in your head?
I was just thinking about Gary Young from Young Living Essential Oils. So he's passed now, but a couple years before he passed, I got to meet him, and I was invited to his farm in Washington, where his lavender farm, mostly lavender, but
Oh
other things
God,
as
that
well.
must be
And I got to
gorgeous.
be there during the harvest. It was very
Wow.
special. And
Wow.
he was talking about sort of the difference between lavender and Melissa, and the Melissa plant and oil. And he was talking about how with lavender, you can sort of calendar when the harvest is going to happen. But with Melissa, you can't. You have to be so attuned to her. He called her a her. And I was so moved by that. He said, if you try to push it, what you get is sour. It's no good. And if
Mm,
you wait too long, then it's not right. You have to listen to her. You have to absolutely
right.
allow her process and let her tell you when she's ready. And it might be in the middle of the night. It might be at the complete inopportune moment, but if you want this medicinal oil that will heal you, you have to tune into her. And when you do, it is
I love
worth
this.
every bit of it.
Putting me in mind of it too is the capriciousness of the muse. There's a wonderful Liz Gilbert's TED talk about the muse.
Oh,
Everybody has to find.
heavens.
It's so much
Yeah.
fun and it's so hilarious.
The,
And I mean, I've had my own, when I was writing this alternative country rock album, I didn't know how to songwrite. It began with me writing a song for my dad when he'd passed, and we thought we'll keep a foot in country, and I just kept doing it. But in
mhm,
terms of the capriciousness, so I'm just, I had gotten a phrase for this song called At the End of My Day.
mhm.
And I'd gotten this da 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 da, it'll all be okay if at the end of my day there is you. So I got that in the middle of the night, and I immediately I was like, oh, 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 that's a song. So, and this is very important to remember, pre iPhone. I did not have a pen and piece of paper. I did not have a recorder because I was an idiot and did not know what the hell I was doing. So I go to Ralph's, which is the supermarket, and I'm buying baby broccoli, which I don't even like it, and I always overcook it, but still I was buying it. And as I'm standing there, I hear
Mm.
two verses, music and words, I hear it. In that moment, I'm trying to memorize what they are so that I can go, but I'm like buying more broccoli than I need, trying to sort of slightly sing it without moving my lips so people won't think I'm like
Broccoli.
crazy. And then I go rushing over like a fool. I didn't know any better. I go to rush over to the line. I wait in line. I'm looking at the People magazine and the National Enquirer. So of course it's gone. It's gone. So I had to
Gone.
go back to the broccoli. And I did, and it was there. And I heard it again. And
God.
this time I was smart enough to put everything
Yes.
down and just leave the damn grocery store. Now, was that the entirety of the song? No, it wasn't, but it was more of it. But it was a gift, you know?
It was a gift.